Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, January 27th, and welcome back to the Nick Watkins Show. I'm Nick Watkins, and we are joined today by a very special guest, basketball expert on the show, and number one fan of the show, Grant Thomson. Grant, welcome to the show.
Yo, what's up? Happy to finally be on here.
It's great to have you here. We're going to talk basketball today. We'll just get right into it, talking about the Warriors game from yesterday. Um, This was a weird game. The Warriors lost 108 to 83 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. We had no Draymond, no Steph, no Jimmy Butler, no Al Horford, no Seth Curry, no Melton, and no Kuminga in this game. The Timberwolves weren't playing Anthony Edwards, so there weren't a lot of stars in this game, and it showed on the Warriors side. Um, yeah, there's really not much to talk about. The first quarter was competitive. We looked good, and then the wheels fell off. Rudy Gobert had 17 rebounds in last night's game. That's an interesting stat. But we don't have to talk about that too much. It was an expected result. Um, yeah, the Warriors lost. So let's just get into some more big picture stuff, some more interesting stuff, and not blowouts that happened in Minnesota. Let's start with let's start with uh let's start with Grant. What do you think the direction of the Warriors should be? Because we know about the Jimmy Butler injury. Very unfortunate. We were playing good basketball before Jimmy Butler went down, and then he tore his ACL. And there are a lot of questions that still have yet to be answered from the Warriors side. So I asked Ashton this before, and I'm really curious to hear your perspective as a neutral fan in this scenario, and as a expert ball knower of basketball. What do you think the Warriors' direction should be? How do you think they should address this unfortunate situation?
So I actually have like a different point of view. I actually think that they should keep Kaminga and develop him this season because like since Butler's out, they're not going to win anyway. So I would develop Kaminga, give him some more playing time, and then try and raise his trade value. And maybe towards the end of the season, I'd probably shut down Steph and try and get a higher draft pick, and then see what happens, and then go from there. Then decide like if they want to compete next season or if they want to just blow it up and rebuild.
That is, yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that happening. The Warriors are, as of right now, as of the today, 26 and 22, eighth in the Western Conference. If the season were to end today, we'd go to Phoenix for the first playing game, and then we'd probably lose and host the second one. So there's definitely a chance to make the playoffs. And I've said it before, I still think the Warriors team can make the playoffs, and I think they probably will. But competing for a championship is a very unrealistic expectation for this team. And it's a tough spot. You can either um, try and buy and try and get back to a competitive status, which is very very risky for the future. You could do nothing, and it kind of seems like the best option for the short term. But doing nothing, you need to take some action to address this. And then of course the other option is just sell it completely, which would definitely be the hardest thing to do, and is the least favorable, but it might also be the most realistic in terms of creating future success. So I don't know. It is a very odd situation. Um,
Steph
Kaminga
would
to
never
your
get traded though.
what's up?
I don't think Steph would ever get traded. Like even if they like
Yeah, I
blow it
don't
up
think
and
so
a
either.
rebuild, it'd kind of be the same as like Kobe's last year on the Lakers. Like even if they're not that good, they're never gonna trade like their franchise guy.
Yeah, I mean, you would get a crazy return for Steph Curry, but the problem with that is you'd be trading Steph Curry. And that I obviously do not want that to happen at all. That would be heartbreaking. And yeah, even if we do blow it up, you got to keep Curry. Um and this, it's unfortunate because we were actually playing great basketball before Jimmy got hurt, and now we're in this situation. Um the interesting part, the wrinkle to this is Jonathan Kaminga was being, had DNPs after DNPs just sitting on the bench all throughout, the whole season. And then he comes back after Jimmy got hurt. He actually played great basketball against the Raptors, and then in his limited time against Dallas before he got hurt himself. And that's the interesting part with amidst all this trade drama and the rumors and the whole drama that's been happening all throughout the offseason up to now. He is hurt, and he's questionable to play in the next game. How do you think that affects his status, trade wise, or just in general for him playing for the Warriors?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's at an all-time low because of Kerr. I have no idea why, he wouldn't play for a whole month.
Yeah, I agree with
So
that.
that's why I think like, right now it's not the time to trade him because you don't trade a guy while his value's at a low. And I feel like especially with how he played against the Raptors a few nights ago, I think if they just develop him a little bit, give him some more reps, maybe in the offseason they get like a deal that they were actually looking for. Because like what the GM said, like to make a demand, you need a there has to be demand,
Hmm.
and that's why I think just playing him, just developing, especially since the season's basically like the season's going to go to waste. Why not just give him some run and then just see what you can get in the offseason?
Yeah, I would also agree with that, keeping him. Not only because I'm a big fan of Jonathan Kaminga, I liked him really ever since we drafted him. I had high hopes for him, and still do, of course. He's still on the team, and he's still going to be playing when he gets back from his injury. But the point that I keep coming back to with JK is he demanded a trade, and the Warriors hadn't played him at all. He wasn't contributing to the team at the time that he demanded the trade. So if there was a trade and a trade partner lined up, the Warriors would have made that trade already. And there are a couple of reasons that I'm considering as to reasons that the trade hasn't happened yet or a trade hasn't happened yet. It would either be it's mostly the Warriors would want to get a good return for Kaminga. We spent a first round pick on him all those years ago, it was like 5 or 6 years ago, and we want a good return for that because he is a very talented player and he has a lot of potential. So we would want to get a decent return for that. Other teams wouldn't want to overpay, but they also wouldn't want to be, you know, giving up too much just for a prospect like that. Which is crazy to say he's a prospect because he's in like year 5 or year 6, and it's
It's your four.
is it 4? I could have sworn he was. This isn't. Let's take a look because
He was in the K draft, right? That was 21.
let's see. He was first round pick in 2021. So yeah, it would be 4. Really, that or 5? You're 5. This is the thing with Jonathan Kaminga is we keep saying like it's such a weird situation with him. Like not just the trade situation, but him as a player because it's like well he was drafted 4 5 years ago, whatever it was. But and we think, wow, he might be a little bit older, like mid 20s. He's only 23 years old. So we treat him like this prospect that hasn't really played a lot, and he hasn't played a lot, but he's been in the league for a decent amount of time. Um, I'm honestly not sure. I think let's what do you think like went wrong in because we're treating him like the last however many years just didn't even happen, and he's like a rookie with no experience basically. Um, in this whole saga situation, where do you think the blame is to be put? Who do you think deserves the blame for how this situation got so soured?
I wouldn't think of it necessarily as like, blaming one, particular person. I'd say the problem is more so like the way he plays doesn't really fit the Warriors. Because like he's more of like a ball dominant player. So like if he's not like the lead ball handler or one of like the go to, offensive guys, and like he's not as useful out there as like, other guys in the rotation. So I think that's why, Kerr hasn't really gone to him in the playoffs and especially like the last few months. So I'd say like the main reason why things went wrong is because like he doesn't fit the offense, and then but if anyone deserves to blame, it's more so the front office, just because they should have recognized that and traded him way sooner when he had value. So I'd say if I had to blame one person, it'd be the front office. But the what went wrong was the way he plays like offensively. It doesn't really fit the Warriors.
Yeah, I I can see that as well. And I think the remainder of this season is a very important um, stretch for this whole situation because when Steph isn't on the floor, the Warriors need scoring to stay in games. And we had that with Jimmy Butler. When Steph wasn't on the floor, that's when Jimmy would play like, he used to play when he was the star. And then when they were on the floor together, Steph or Jimmy would defer to Steph. He would step down and be Robin to Steph's Batman. And Kaminga and Curry, it doesn't really like mesh well, in my opinion. I don't know if you agree with that. But when Steph Curry isn't on the floor, now the Warriors need scoring, and the place where they can get scoring, individual scoring, to create for yourself is Jonathan Kaminga. So when he comes back and how he plays for the remainder of the season, if he doesn't get traded, is going to be huge because he can go and he can earn himself a lot of money, even though there still is a year left on the contract. If he gets traded, they'll probably sign an extension. So this really is his chance to prove himself because the Warriors are probably still going to make the playoffs, but there's not an expectation to win it all. So there's like it's a decent amount of pressure, like a decent amount of good opponents you're going to be facing. And I think this is a real opportunity for him to prove that he can be the guy and increase his trade value, which would be great for the Warriors organization, but also beneficial to him to kind of show what he's made of. I think this is a real opportunity for him. Um, but let's say he does get traded. There are how many like teams were interested? Like three?
Yeah, like the say the Suns, Kings,
I
Nets,
was hearing Mavericks.
Mavericks, probably a few more than three. Probably a few more
Teams would
than
definitely be
five.
interested in him, but the front runners, at least the front runner, would be the Brooklyn Nets,
Yeah,
which just so happens to be your team. So
my
you have
team.
a good understanding of that organization, that team, how it could potentially happen. Um, what do you think? Do you think that's a realistic scenario? JK getting traded to the Nets?
As much as I'd love for that to happen, I really hope I'm wrong, but I really don't think it's gonna happen this offseason. Just because, yeah, I think it would have happened by now, like before
Yeah.
Jimmy got hurt.
Hmm.
Like there was more reason to do it then. Like I was hearing rumors, it doesn't sound like it fell through. Like I think it was a possibility at one point. And also like unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna trade MPJ at this point. I'm not really sure why, but like
His
I've heard
value
of
right now is pretty high. I mean, he's balling out, right?
yeah. I mean, the last few games have been kind of kind of so, but like overall, I think he'd be gone right now if we were gonna trade him. And then if for some reason we just want to stick with what we have and not go full rebuild this deadline. So yeah, I mean, I really hope I'm wrong. Like I really hope that Kuminga comes to Brooklyn because I think he'd be a really good fit here. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen though.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it'll be a beneficial, like a mutually beneficial deal if that were to happen. The idea was JK for MPJ, kind of straight up. I mean, there might be some picks involved. Um, that would be great for both sides. But even if it doesn't happen, how do you feel about just how do you feel about the team in general? How do you feel about the direction of the team and what the plan is for the future?
I love the strategy of just like farming first round picks. Yeah, basically, I just want to do what the Thunder did. Just get as many rookies as possible. Actually, like a lot of people clowned on our draft last year, like taking like 5 point guards. I actually didn't mind it, like taking upside picks while we're bad and
Hmm.
like tanking. Trying to swing and try and like get someone really good. That's exactly what I want to do. And like besides like it not looking like we're gonna trade MPJ, like I'm honestly cool with like everything the front office is doing. Like I like the full rebuild mode. Really trying to get a good pick this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's always when you're a fan of a team that, no offense, is not playing well, there's always the interesting, hopeful, thoughts in the back of your head, like, well, we're not doing so well right now, but this is setting us up for the future. And I mean, we saw what the Thunder did. What an incredible rebuild that was. They're looking like a potential dynasty. And you never know. You never know if something like that could happen to your team. And I'll definitely be rooting for that to happen. I feel like that'd be great. But yeah, it's I'm not even gonna lie. The NBA started like October 21st, and here we are, January 27th, and we've barely talked about it. That's why I'm really glad to have you on because you have been dialed into the NBA. You know what's going on, and I just want to hear like how you're feeling about the year so far. What are some stories that are happening um this year that you're really interested in you think are good stories?
My number one thing, like what's keeping me invested the most, is the Thunder Spurs, like that
Mm.
those matchups. Like that's been the most interesting thing because before the season started, I was like full on like Thunder are gonna go back to back. Like it won't even be like competitive. But seeing them, I know the Thunder beat them last time, but seeing them lose 3 times in a row to the same
Mm-hmm.
team, like not even fully healthy, like that makes me really like excited for the playoffs to see if there's like a playoff series, Spurs Thunder. I feel like that'd be crazy.
If it gets to
So
that point, that would be
yeah,
one of the most hyped matchups in a very long time.
yeah.
And so that's 1 and 2 in the West. Um, that is I even noticed that, and I mean I'm not I'm probably more invested than a casual fan, but um, that is something that turns heads. The Thunder and the Spurs individually get people's attention. People know Shea, people know Wemby, but those two together, that's an elite matchup. And we honestly we could be seeing that for years to come. That could be a real rivalry that gets built.
And then another thing I'm sure as everyone knows, whether Giannis is gonna get moved or not. Like that's something I've been following closely. I hear like different reports every day. Like at this point, I have no idea. If I had to guess, I'd probably select the off season. And like before like the deadline, before Trey Young got moved out, I've been saying like Giannis to the Hawks, like for Jalen Johnson and some picks. But obviously now like that's not gonna happen. Uh, I'd say that that's the second most interesting thing is the whole Giannis Milwaukee drama that's been going on. It's like yeah, at this point I have no idea. I'd probably guess off season, but like you never know at this point.
Yeah, this is a good topic because it's prevalent to the Warriors as well. I mean, it could be delusion, but I mean, Giannis to the Warriors has been a trade rumor that has been coming up for many years now. It's pretty unrealistic for that to happen, but who do you think are the actual potential landing if Giannis were to get traded? That's a big if. Where do you think some of the places he could go might be?
I know he wants to go to New York, but I don't think they have the assets. Like I've seen honestly at this point, I really don't know like off the top of my head. Toronto could happen. Um, Honestly, I really don't know at this point because I was really confident it was going to be Atlanta or maybe the Spurs, but I don't think it makes sense for either team to do that anymore. If I had to say one team, I'd say Toronto or maybe New York, but I'm not very confident in either of those.
Because if Giannis were to get traded, that would be an unbelievable return, seemingly an unbelievable return that you'd be getting. Um, so if a team were to make that deal, they'd have to have the assets, both pick wise and player wise. And if you were to trade for Giannis, who is one of the best players in the league, you think you'd be giving up picks and star players, right? So it would probably be to a team where if maybe the chemistry is a little bit off, or they have pieces to give away. Because if you're talking about Toronto, they'd probably have to trade. Would they be trading Scotty Barnes? Would they be trading Brandon
Maybe
Ingram?
maybe like quickly, maybe RJ, and I think they have all their picks. So like quickly RJ and what maybe like 6 first round picks, maybe a little bit less.
That's a crazy
That's probably
amount
what it would take.
to give up. I feel like it would be worth it though to get
Yeah.
Giannis. And that's kind of the question because it's like I know you're probably not gonna understand this, but for people who aren't familiar, for the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes, it's like he was available, but you have to have the funds to go get him. The Dodgers had the funds to get him, and that's why they ended up with him. For Giannis, it's kind of similar. except this in this scenario, it's a trade, not a free agent signing. But still, you have to have the funds and the assets to be able to go out and get them. You'd be giving up a ton for one player, and maybe the reason it hasn't happened is because teams just don't feel like that's worth it. Um, I don't know. It's a very odd scenario that's going on with Giannis because we don't even know if he wants to be traded. We don't know if the Bucks are even entertaining those talks. We don't know if anyone's actually going to go out and get him. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that, monitor that. That's
I
the
did see a report a few days ago that the Bucks are gonna try and like make a trade and make Giannis happy and like get someone. And I was thinking they meant like John Morant, but I don't think he's gonna get traded either. Like he's
so
the past few games he's been pretty good.
Ja.
Yeah.
That was another name that I heard in trade talks. So we got Giannis is the big one. We obviously talked about J.K. John Morant maybe. Trae Young already got traded to the Wizards. What are some other rumors, some other names that you think could be dealt at the trade deadline?
But someone I think is like really, really gonna get traded, like more than likely, and no one talks about. I think Sabonis is gonna get traded for sure.
Yeah,
And I'd probably guess like I feel like he'd be a good fit in Detroit. I feel like his value isn't like insane, but I also feel like it's like reasonable. So I'd say I think Sabonis to Detroit would be a really good trade. That's something I've mocked. And another one, a guy who I'm like kind of 50-50 on if he's gonna get moved or not at this point is Anthony Davis. Like I really don't know who would trade for him right now, just because like
yeah,
you don't know what you're gonna get out of Anthony Davis.
yeah,
At the same time, I wouldn't sell low on him, especially if you trade Luka Doncic for him. So like it could happen because they want to make sure they get a good pick this year because after this year they don't have their own pick for like till like 2030 or something like that. So yeah, Anthony Davis, it'll be interesting. It's like a coin toss. I feel like if he gets moved or not.
there's a very high risk in trading for Anthony Davis because I mean, you could be getting a dominant center who can do a ton of things for you on the basketball court, or he could get hurt, which happens a lot for Anthony Davis. So there's definitely a risk for that. Um, what about one name that I've heard come up is Laurie Markkinen? Do you think he's going to get dealt?
I mean, honestly, kind of the same boat as Anthony Davis. Honestly, not in this. Like I feel like he's like obviously he's not like a risky player to trade for, but I just haven't really heard any like any rumors about Larry Markkinen or any like any kind of like circulation about like where he's gonna go or like who's interested. So I really couldn't say. It wouldn't surprise me, but I would guess that he's gonna stay in Utah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the trade deadline in sports is what I'm accustomed to is baseball. And if you're a baseball team and you're not competing and your best players are as good as gone, I mean, it's almost a lock that they're going to get traded and you're going to get a good return for it. For basketball, it's a little bit different because, I mean, we had Luca last year, and that was maybe the biggest trade of all time. But other than that, I can't really remember times where a huge star got dealt at the trade deadline. Because in baseball, it happens like every hour. You're seeing a huge name get traded. But in basketball, it's kind of more of a rare thing.
Luka
Is there?
Doncic trade is the only trade where I got the notification on my phone and I thought Shams got hacked.
Yeah, that was insane. That was,
It like 20 minutes for me to finally like grasp that it was real.
I mean, it's one of the most mind blowing things that I've ever, seen happen. I mean, there were now. Could you imagine if Dallas didn't get the number one pick? They
Yeah,
would
it'd
be
be like
so screwed.
probably the
And
worst position in the NBA, I'd say.
it because the Luca getting traded and Cooper Flag ending up on the Mavericks are completely unrelated, unless you want to dive into conspiracy theories. But from a logical perspective, completely unrelated things. And that means the Mavericks just lucked out on getting Flag because if they didn't, they'd be in a mess right now.
no
It's
young players, and yeah,
it's meanwhile, Luka's playing pretty well, isn't he, in LA?
he's been good. They haven't been winning. They won last night. I think he had almost 50 points and like 12 assists. I think. I didn't watch that game, but I
46 and
saw
12, yeah.
that one was crazy. Lakers they haven't been winning games lately, but yeah, Luka's been insane. Because their roster is kind of incomplete. Like it's a strange roster, honestly. Like they're not gonna do anything this year. I feel like the Lakers. Like I feel like they're gonna be like another first round exit.
Mm.
But I think next year once they have like an off season to like complete their roster, like make some moves, add some defense, the next year they could be competitive.
I mean, if you have Luka and LeBron, you're probably going to be competitive. But I mean, we've seen LeBron be competitive without a great supporting cast, but that was
It
eight
was
years
fluid.
ago. That was 8 years ago. Oh my gosh, where has the time gone? Wow, I remember that like it was yesterday.
Where do you think
Um,
LeBron's gonna go this off season?
where do I think he's gonna go?
Yeah,
I really don't know. I mean, he's not gonna retire, right? I mean,
not
so
maybe, but not this year.
is his contract up after this
Yeah,
summer?
he's a free agent after this year. Yeah,
So the team that popped into my head immediately was Cleveland. I don't know if that's
yes,
realistic because, why not, right? And if LeBron's not gonna want to go to he's gonna want to go to contender because who knows how many years he has left. If it's one, maybe more than that. There's not very many. He's Unk. He's Unk status now. He's grandpa status in a couple months, right? I mean, Philip Rivers type activities, but he's definitely going to want to go to a contender because he's not going to want to go to a mid team and end his career there. Cleveland is a very good team, but I don't know how he'd fit there. I mean, it seems like they're doing pretty well for themselves without him. They're
it
28 and
actually
20.
actually hasn't been that great this season.
It
It's
hasn't
it's been
compared
a
to
little bit
last
below
year.
expectation. Yeah, compared to last year.
Well, they are fifth in the East.
I think the
Seven
last week
games
has been
back.
good, but like overall, it's been a little bit disappointing.
They have won the last four.
Yeah,
But yeah,
last
they are only 8 games above 500. I
yeah
don't know.
last year they were the one seed by a mile last year. I remember.
Mm. Yeah, so I mean, but still, that's not. I mean, fifth seed in the East, you could definitely
Yeah,
improve, but I don't know if LeBron fits in there. Uh, a delusional perspective would be maybe he goes to the Warriors. How fun would that be?
possibly.
I mean, that's not the most crazy
I
thing.
could see it happening. I don't think it's actually that. I don't think it's that crazy to think that actually.
Now that I think about it, yeah, it's not the most. That's not outlandish to say. It's not ridiculous to say that. It's not ridiculous to say that. Where's that from?
Drewski?
Yeah,
It sounds like something he'd say.
sounds like yeah. It sounds like a first take, maybe first take.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, um, let's just wrap up the trade talks with this. If if you had to make a pick and you had to be like, for lack of a better word, gun to your head, okay? If you need to make a pick or a trade prediction, and if it's wrong, if you had to be right about one trade prediction, what do you think is the most realistic trade that's going to happen? If you had to predict one, say this is going
Like
to happen, what's that trade?
like one player to like one specific team.
Yeah,
All right, let
the
me
most
think.
likely thing of happening.
Okay, a week ago I would have said MPG to the Warriors, but I'm not gonna go with that. Hmm. I want to say Sabonis.
This is
I want
tough.
to say it is tough. I
There's
want to
not
say
like
Sabonis to the Pistons. I think that could be a good trade for both teams.
there's not like one really good player on a really bad team that's like, yeah, he's gone.
I feel like it'd be him. The thing is, I don't. I think it's gonna be like a kind of a dead like trade deadline
It's shaping up
next
to be
year.
that way.
I think it's gonna be boring compared to last year. Obviously, last year's probably the
I
best
mean,
one of
yeah,
all time.
sure, yeah.
But compared to most years, I mean, I'm gonna say Sabonis to the Pistons.
I mean, that's
It's a really tough deadline to predict, just because I feel like all like the main like trade like candidates. Like, I feel like most of them are actually gonna end up staying. But
Yeah.
Sabonis is the only one I feel like, yeah, he should probably still go. I
Yeah.
feel like the most likely team would be Detroit. I'm gonna say Sabonis to the Pistons.
I mean, that sounds like a good prediction. We'll keep an eye out for that, see if that happens, and if it does, then we'll come back to this, and we'll shout you out again. Um, so let's just trade or change directions from basketball, talking about all these bad teams too. Let's talk about the good teams. Um, if we look at the standings in the East, the Pistons lead it 5 games over the Celtics. Uh, and then 3 is the Raptors, and then Knicks, Cavs, 76ers, Heat, Magic, Bulls, and the Hawks. That is, those are the top 10. And then in the West, the Thunder, the Spurs, the Nuggets, the Rockets, Lakers, Wolves, Suns, Warriors, Blazers, Clippers. So those are the top 10 teams in each conference. Um, what team I guess we'll start with what team do you think is gonna win it all at this point in time?
I don't want to be boring and say the Thunder,
But
but
the Thunder,
it's gonna be the Thunder.
yeah.
I'm not as confident as I was at the beginning of the season, but I do think if anyone's gonna, I think the second most likely would be the Spurs because they matched up so well against the Thunder. Um, so yeah, I'm kind of boring when it comes to this. I'm just gonna say the Thunder. And to make it out the East, I think they play the Pistons in the finals, which is also boring because it's 1 seed versus 1 seed.
I mean,
So I don't know who
it is the
take.
one seed, but it's kind of an exciting team. So,
Yeah,
but I mean, they are playing great basketball right now. They are 33 and 11. Um, what about a sleeper team? Who are you think is a good team that people are sleeping on right now?
I'm not sure how slept on they are, but I want to say Denver. I feel like people forgot about Denver.
Yeah,
Um, just
they're
because
so consistent.
they're still a 3 seed with Jokic being out for what, like 2 weeks now. Plus they have way more depth than last year. Also, they took the Thunder to 7 games last year,
Hmm.
and then now they got better this offseason. So now they added like an actual bench. So they're still a contender. Like they're still like high A tier, maybe S tier level team. Like no one talks about that. Like I would take it goes Thunder, and then second is like Spurs or Nuggets. The more I talk about it, the more I think like, are they better than the Spurs? I really think it's gonna be one of those 3 teams. To win it all this year. And then from the East, another sleeper I have. I'm not sure if they're sleepers either, but the Celtics, because like with
I
how good
mean,
they are right
sleeper team, the 2 seed. I
now.
mean, but they don't have Tatum, right? He hasn't
They're
played.
kind of the 2 seed though. Yeah, but like with Tatum, they're like,
Is he coming back?
yeah, he's coming back probably at the end of next month.
Wow. So they're just gonna get
Yeah.
better.
Mm. Like an
Wow.
actual like sleeper, like a low seed like sleeper. I'm trying to think if there even are any right now.
I mean, it doesn't look like it in the East. I
Yeah,
mean,
honestly, I can't really
after the
think of any like.
Cavs, there's a big drop off,
Yeah,
and then the
honestly, outside of
West,
like
it's a little bit
3.
deeper.
Honestly, I don't think we're gonna get that surprise this year in the playoffs by anybody. That could age horribly, but I really don't think anyone's just gonna
You don't think
like we're
any
not.
upsets?
Yeah, we're not gonna get like what the Pacers did last year. Like I feel like
Mm.
that's not gonna happen this year. That could age horribly, but we'll see. But
I
I
mean,
feel like
we'll
this
see.
year, one of the top 3 seeds is gonna win it all.
I mean, yeah, there are the teams at the top are there's a big gap from the top teams and the rest of the teams in the playoffs, especially at the bottom. Um,
I should note my playoff predictions are always horrible. Like they're always like
yeah, you
they're
can
always
never
way
get it.
off.
Yeah,
Last year was my first year predicting a champion correctly.
I mean that was a pretty easy pick,
Yeah,
but you were just running with them because you like Shea.
yeah.
What about we did sleeper teams? What about a fraud team? What team do you think is gonna be is people are pretty high right now, and you think they might not make it past the first? Definitely not the second.
Uh, Out of the East, I feel like a lot of people are starting to catch on to this now, but I'd probably go with the Knicks
Yeah,
because like because last year they had a tough time beating all like the top four teams,
Mm.
and this year there's been a lot of struggles. They're just really inconsistent. And I don't think they're gonna do anything. Like I feel like most people have them making it out the East at this point, but I really just don't see that happening. So I'd say the Knicks are a fraud, and then trying to think of more. At the West, I've been saying this, but like I feel like it's not. I feel like it's kind of they're not even a high seed anymore. Like the Rockets, just because I feel like you need a good point guard to make it far in the playoffs, like an experienced like point guard who like knows what he's doing. I feel like they don't have that. I feel like they're not going to make it past like first round, maybe not even like I feel like second round's like their ceiling.
Mm.
A lot of people would probably say that they're like contenders. So I'd say Rockets and Knicks are my biggest frauds. I'd say.
I mean, I'd agree with the Rockets. I mean, you said they don't have a point guard. Do you think there's a point guard they can go out and get trade deadline? Doesn't have to be a huge deal, but like maybe a little backup or somebody. Maybe
Mm,
Russell Westbrook.
I want them to get Chris Paul.
That is
I'd love them to get Chris Paul. It'd be so
that.
easy too.
Yeah,
They
I
could
mean,
just
he's
make
not
it
even
happen.
on a. I mean, yeah,
Like 1 second round pick, they have Chris Paul. Like they could like.
he's not even on
I
the,
thought
the Clippers though, right? Like, didn't he get released?
he's technically like on the team, but he got sent home. So like they're
How did you
still
do that to
paying
him?
him, but like he's not like going to practice or playing games. So like
I
I
mean,
want
they
to see
probably give
Chris
him up
Paul
for
go to
like.
the Rockets, either Houston, or I want him to go to OKC and just ring Chase.
He was on the Thunder, um,
Yeah,
in the bubble. Yeah, that would be
I
cool.
want
That'd
him
be good for him.
to. Yeah,
I mean, he's probably available, so I don't know.
there's one guy I'd say it'd be Chris Paul for the Rockets. I
That
want to
would
see
definitely
that.
be exciting. That'd definitely be exciting. All right. So your championship prediction: Thunder over Pistons.
Under Thunder in five first Pistons.
Thunder in
That's my
five.
prediction.
That's not very
Yeah,
close.
I think we get a boring finals this year.
I hope not. It's always exciting when you got good matchups in the playoffs.
I think the
Um,
highlight of these playoffs would be a Spurs versus Thunder series that would go to
I
7 games.
agree. That's for sure going seven. Um, that would be
That would be
entertaining.
that would be what people remember the most from this year. It'd be the Western Conference Finals. That's the real finals this year. Is the West Finals.
I can see us looking back on if that were to happen. I can see us looking back on it and being like, yeah, that was round one of Shea and Wemby, OKC and the
Yeah,
Spurs. I think if they match up in the Western Conference Finals, then it's almost you know almost like the rivalry's gonna happen and they're gonna be meeting in the playoffs over and over again. Um,
I hope that could be like our like the 2020s version of Steph and LeBron.
yeah, yeah,
I'd love that. Yeah.
that would be great. Um, yeah, so that's. Is there anything else you want to talk about basketball wise, or did we cover all of it?
I think. Who's your championship prediction? Is it also the Thunder?
Well, it's not the Warriors, so I'll just say that I it's not the Warriors. It's not happening. Um, I feel like Thunder or Spurs. If the Thunder and the Spurs were to match up, I'm probably gonna take San Antonio. Hold on, it's lagging a little bit. Is it all? I don't know.
We're all good
We're
on my end.
Okay, so we'll just hope that there's no lag. I'm probably
Yeah,
taking San Antonio if they match up with OKC, but if the Spurs were to get eliminated before they match up with Oklahoma City, then I'd take the Thunder. Probably between those two teams. I can see the Nuggets beating the Spurs, and then losing to Oklahoma City, but I agree with you that it'd be one of those top three. And then in the East, I'm not necessarily as familiar with that. Um, there is one team though that I saw just completely dominate us in overtime. That was the Toronto Raptors. And Scotty Barnes had 25 rebounds in the first matchup against us.
I remember
So
that
I
game.
kind of like the Raptors. They got some good players. They got Ingram and Barnes. They have I think it's a deep lineup. Um, I'm kind of rocking with the Raptors, but the Pistons are pretty good. They're also exciting. If the Celtics get Tatum back and he plays even somewhat close to his status before he got hurt, Celtics could be dangerous. But I would agree that it's going to be a matchup of two of the top teams, and it could be boring, but I don't know. It's a long way away. We got months before that happens. A lot of basketball left to be played. We're not even at the All Star break yet, so we'll we'll keep coming back to this. Come back to the NBA throughout the remainder of the season. Just check in, see what's going on. Um, as for tonight, though, it's Bucks Sixers on NBC. That's at 5, and then at 7, Clippers Jazz. I don't know who scheduled that. Um, who decided that would be national TV? But that's what we got. And then as for hockey, nothing national, but the Sharks do play tonight against the Canucks. Hoping to get another dub. The Sharks currently in the last playoff position in the West, and Grant, your Avalanche. I don't know how you're Nets, Bills, Yankees, Avalanche fan. I don't know where that.
Blank game.
I don't know where the Avs came from. That's kind of that TikTok like trend or whatever that they do the sound from like the Lil Dicky uh song, the Earth song, and it's
I hope
like,
there's no swearing on
and
here.
I'm con. It is not. It's his name. It's his name. It's his name. What do you want me to say? Whatever. Avalanche are just otherworldly right now. They're like the Avalanche, like the Thunder. They're at 79 points, which is 11 more than the next highest. Or actually, the Lightning are doing pretty. Whatever. We're not going to talk hockey without knowing
Can I
them.
explain my Avalanche lore? So
You got you. Yeah.
basically I went to an Avs game
Uh
and
huh.
I got a pretty cool T-shirt.
I mean, that's good enough for me, man. I mean, if your parents aren't really the way like sports work, if your parents aren't really a fan of a certain sport, you can then you get free reign to kind of just pick whoever you like. That's why I'm a Georgia Bulldogs fan because my cousins got me into that. But this when we're talking about this, we're talking about hockey and college football. When it's us two, it's gone on too long. So let's just kind of wrap this up here. Grant, thank you so much for coming on. I This should have happened a lot earlier, to be honest with you, but it finally happened, and it was good, man. So thank you for coming on.
Hey, subscribe to the Nick Watkins Show.
Subscribe to the Nick Watkins Show. Thank you. And thank you to all of you who are watching. I'm sure none of you are here at this point. But if you are, thanks for watching. Leave a like on the video and subscribe. And thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.